Hare Krishna. Music therapy and Harinaam Sankirtan. Music therapy refers to the system of therapy, of treatment by which music is used to heal people. Leo Tolstoy stated that music is the shorthand of emotion. Music is a universal language of humanity. People, whichever part of the world they may be in, they can appreciate and relish music when it is artistically performed. Music is the universal channelizer, expressor, activator of emotions. Ubiquitously, wherever we go, it is music that can channelize emotions. It can express and invoke emotions in others. Music is a focal point of culture. Music is a central part of human tradition. Now, music can bring peace, you can bring joy, it can elevate the human heart. So, now we know that music can pacify the mind, but can it actually heal? The healing potential of music is being increasingly discovered and tapped in postmodern times. In the modern times, we have seen an alarming increase in mental health problems. And among such mental health problems, the problems especially which are caused by traumatic events, for example, the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is suffered by people who actually who went into war and saw brutal violence that had permanent psychological effect, and conventional medical therapy couldn't help them much. So it is found that, especially after the Second World War, in the First World War also, but especially after the Second World War, in America it was found that these people who is ex-servicemen who were suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, when they were when they witnessed perform musical performances by community musicians, that brought their stress down substantially. It made them deeply peaceful in a way that pills and potions and prescriptions were not able to do. So from that time, the scientific research in scientific interest, or rather a scientific approach to music, that became more and more. And now there is Journal of Music Therapy Perspective. There is a American Music Therapy Association which deals with these sort of issues, and it has been found that among the young, among the elderly, among those suffering from Alzheimer's and other such diseases, many people have been enormously benefited by music therapy. And often ailments that were chronic, incurable, according to conventional medicine, they have been treated by music therapy. So music therapy is thus getting more and more acceptance in the West. Now in India, in the Vedic wisdom tradition, music therapy is an integral part of the culture itself. Now, ragas are foundational to Indian systems of music, and there are ragas which are customized for particular times, and when those ragas are sung or heard at those times, it has been experientially found that people become peaceful, people get sublimely elevated, and this sort of sublime elevation is substantially different from the superficial titillation that comes by rock, bang and dash sort of music that is popular in today's times. So the healing that comes by the expression of human emotions in a moving way, by the activation, channelization, expression of emotions that are there through ragas, is actually a profound and subtle transformational science that addresses human emotions. Samaveda, which is considered to be among the foundational literatures in the Indian tradition, that is filled with beautiful songs. And music, in that sense, is very important, in fact indispensable as a part of the culture. So beyond the specifics of raga as a means for activation or pacification of emotions, there is also the whole concept of spiritual or devotional music. Nowadays, when we talk about spiritual music, people often think about sounds from nature, say the music of birds chirping or the music of the rivers flowing, which itself can be peaceful. But beyond that, spiritual music just doesn't refer in a hazy sense to something which makes our mind peaceful. But spiritual music refers in substantial sense to our core, to our essence, the soul, and how that soul can become elevated, can become liberated. And how can this happen? This actually happens when we become purified. So normally in our lives we are unable to deal with emotions, especially as modern society is becoming more and more stress filled, more and more agitated. So the more agitating, the mind becomes very agitated, and we may tune into certain forms of music for entertainment, and that may pacify the mind also. But this pacification is more pain-killing than actually therapeutic. It just temporarily gives us a numbing of the agitating senses that are there, of the agitation that is there. It doesn't substantially transform us. If you want substantial transformation, if you want purification of our emotions, then we need spiritual music, which is not just music of the sounds of nature, but music that is connected with spiritual reality. The highest spiritual reality is God, Krishna, and we are at our core spiritual beings. We are souls. So spiritual music is that music which connects us with our highest reality, with as souls, and with existence's highest reality, that is God, Krishna. So Harinaam Sankirtan is a form of is the topmost form of spiritual theory. Harinam refers to the names of the Supreme Lord, who is referred to here as Hari, the names of Hari. Harinam Sankirtan. Kirtan refers to the recitation or singing of his name. Sankirtan means that which is done in group together. So in Harinam Sankirtan, the whole idea is that God, who manifests as divine sound, is accessed through the singing, where music, which we can easily connect with, is used to connect with God, with whom it is much more difficult to connect. So the remote becomes accessible through the medium of music. In fact, Ludwig van Beethoven stated that music is the mediator between the sensual and the spiritual realm. So normally people think of spirituality as involving shutting down the senses. Shutting down the senses. That means that we just stop perceiving outwards. We don't see with the eyes, we don't hear with the ears. And this is also one form of yoga, or one stage in yoga called pratyahar. Sparshan krutva bahirbahyam chakshushchaivantare bhruvo nasabhyantar samo krutva. So Krishna talks about this in 5.27. He says, Parshan Krutva Bahirbahayams. So all sense objects, we put them outside, shut them outside. So this is one way of doing spirituality. But another way, a much deeper and stronger way of doing spirituality is by the practice of using the senses to connect with the spirit. So normally the senses connect us with the material reality, but we can use the senses to connect with the spiritual reality. And that is what is done through music. And then the music is coming from the spiritual realm. Golokera Premadhana Harinaam Sankirtan. It is, Harinaam Sankirtan is the treasure of love that is coming down from the spiritual world. So when you participate in the singing of the holy names, with music, with dance, that becomes a spiritual therapy that raises our consciousness upwards from the material level to the spiritual level. Actually, Srila Prabhupada demonstrated the potency of the holy name of the singing of the holy names in transforming people in the generation that came after the Second World War in America. One of the tragic social phenomena was the hippie culture that the youth embraced, and these hippies got into drugs, and it was very difficult for people to get off drugs. So the way that people were able to get off the drugs was by the government found it very difficult to get people de-addicted, but Srila Prabhupada was able to do that, and he was able to do that by administering music therapy. He did not give much philosophical classes. He would have long kirtans, and through those kirtans he attracted people's hearts and he transformed them. Even now in America, in Tompkins Square Park, there is the place where Srila Prabhupada, sitting under a tree, started the first public Sankirtan. And then under that tree there is a plaque in the Golden Gate Park, which is being placed there by the New York administration, saying that this is where the Hare Krishna movement began. So Srila Prabhupada administered music therapy and transformed people all over the world. So not just in America, and music therapy is not just for people who are addicted to become free from addictions. Rather, it is for anyone and everyone to break free from all self-defeating forms of emotions and to embrace and be energized by self-elevating spiritual emotions. So we experience a flood of spiritual emotions, of enriching, uplifting, energizing spiritual emotions that drive out the material passions that are making us anxious, that are making us materially attached and that are keeping us bound. And this music therapy, by redirecting our heart's emotions from the world to Krishna, actually can tackle the problems of our existence at its root. We may have various diseases that we are suffering from in this world, but the root disease that we suffer from is Bhavaroga, is material existence, where though we are souls, we are eternal spiritual beings, but we are looking for pleasure in temporary material things. And this is the cause of great misery. So when we embrace music therapy, then we can relish the liberating potency of devotional music, as is manifest through Harinaam Sankirtan, as is manifest through festivals like Kirtan Mela, as is manifested through the chanting of the holy names. Thank you. Hare Krishna.